നമസ്കാരം. സ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യ, സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് ഇന്ത്യ, സ്റ്റാൻഡപ്പ് ഇന്ത്യ ഇങ്ങനെ സെൻട്രൽ ഗവൺമെന്റ് യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഒരുപാട് പ്രോഗ്രാംസ്, ഒരുപാട് പദ്ധതികൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ആവിഷ്കരിച്ച് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് നമ്മുടെ പ്രേക്ഷകർക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും പല ചർച്ചകളിലൂടെയൊക്കെ വളരെ അധികം അറിയാവുന്നതാണ്. ഇന്ന് നമ്മളോടൊപ്പം ഈ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സിനെ കുറിച്ചും നമ്മുടെ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് സെക്ടർ നേരിടുന്ന പ്രശ്നങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ വളരെ ആധികാരികമായിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കാൻ നമുക്കൊരു ഗസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. അദ്ദേഹത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഏകദേശം 29 ഇയേഴ്സ് ഒരു അധ്യാപകൻ എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ IIT ഗുവാഹട്ടിയിലെ പ്രൊഫസർ ഓഫ് മെക്കാനിക്കൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് ആയിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പോൾ ഓൾ ഇന്ത്യ കൗൺസിൽ ഫോർ ടെക്നിക്കൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ്റെ ചെയർമാനാണ് പ്രൊഫസർ അനിൽ ദത്താത്രേയ സഹസ്രാബുദേ. സാറിനെ നമുക്ക് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യാം. Namaste, sir.
Namaste, Veena ji.
We are actually privileged to have you here. We are here actually to talk about the startup India, that skill India and all. No, what are your expectations about the startups that are blooming up these days? Because the government, central government, is giving so much of emphasis to these kind of programs. What are your expectations, your concerns, your analysis on this?
Yeah. So I think this is a very great challenge for all of us. Although Prime Minister announced from the Red Fort a year and a half ago, Startup India, Stand Up India, Government of India's startup policy came in January 2016. Immediately AICT took it up and we decided to have our own committee which will have AICT's startup policy. And in just a short time of 3 to 4 months, we came up with a policy. We then announced it. And then Rashtrapati ji, the outgoing Rashtrapati now, that Sri Pranab Mukherjee, on November the 16th, he launched that from the Rashtrapati Bhavan during the visitors conference. So it was a great red letter day for AICT, because we want that all the institutions in the country, especially technical institutions who are regulated by AICT, to have their own startup ecosystem developed in every campus. And for that, AICT is empowering each one of those institutions in order to have a startup culture developed by way of entrepreneurship cell, by conducting seminars, by having an incubator in the campus, and then providing the facilities of the college to the students round the clock. 24/7 facility availability for students will make big things. And that's what we are pleading with all the principals, heads of the department, to allow students, have faith in them, and I'm sure that a lot of startups will start coming up from AICT colleges.
It's actually very good news for the students, because in the last years, if we analyze the engineering education system, we were giving too much of stress to theoretical aspects rather than practical aspects. As a professor, especially of mechanical engineering, what do you think about it? Because we need good people who have practical experience once they are out of the college. So do we have, is AICT planning to set up incubation centers, yes, something like that in the colleges?
Yeah. AICT has 2 other plans as well apart from this. We held what is known as Smart India Hackathon last year. So that was only digital solutions to the problems of the government. This time not only we will have digital solutions, mobile applications, software development, but there will be hardware hackathon, okay, where students will come with an idea, stay there for 5-6 days in a college, closeted. Maybe they will take some rest, unlike software hackathon, 36-hour non-stop. Here they will take rest for 5-6 hours, but at the end of the week, they will prepare a product with a prototype which is possible to be launched as a market product. And that's the idea which we are going to have at this time. Second part is, you talked about skills. And mechanical engineering, for that matter, is more skilled, probably because of machines involved, but that way even civil engineering, electronics, computer, everywhere there is a hands-on laboratory experience required, plus industry exposure required. So we have made mandatory internship. Students have to go during summer vacation, during second year vacation and third year vacation to the industries, learn the industry practices and come back, and then start innovating whatever the way they want. We are reducing the theory course load also by reducing the credits from 200 credits to 160 credits. Thereby students will get a lot of time to do many other activities and create startups.
So actually, if we take the number of startups that have sprouted up in the last few years, unfortunately around 90% of those startups were failures. just with a 10 to 12% of startups being successful, how can we be so much optimistic about giving more emphasis to startups?
See, the problem with all of us is we talk about employability.
Yes.
The large industries, even the medium scale industries, the number of jobs are going to reduce because of automation, because of Internet of Things.
Yes.
Therefore, there is no other go other than having the startups and having smaller units with 10, 15, 100 employees rather than 10,000 employees, 1 lakh employees. And therefore, startups is going to have its own importance, and that is the only way we can go ahead. That is number one. Number two, whatever we are talking about big industries, their jobs are at a level which is of a different kind of skill sets. Therefore, we also need to create new skill sets. How do students know about Internet of Things? If new technology emerges, how can he learn on his own? The Swayam platform, which has been launched by MHRD recently, is one where one can learn on his own. Learning by oneself and lifelong learning are going to become more important in the future.
Sir, actually technology and science both are like, the most important aspects of the development of a country. How do you look into these two aspects as far as the younger generations are concerned? Because nowadays, in Kerala, we happen to go through a report where majority of the seats in Kerala engineering colleges are remaining vacant except government colleges. This is like a crisis situation as far as the engineering college managements are concerned. How can we sort out these problems?
This problem is not just for Kerala. What
this
we
is
have
happening
observed
everywhere
is all over the country.
Yeah.
The number of engineering colleges that were started in the last 15 years were so many in number that there was no so much of intake itself. So because unless they pass class 12 science exam, they cannot enter engineering, and number of science colleges are less compared to engineering colleges, and that's why we need to even open more science colleges. Science education is also equally important, and some of these colleges, if they become really outstanding and excellent, don't depend on only Indian students. We can even attract students from Middle East, from the South Africa, other Asian countries, because our education, all said and done, is not only affordable and cheap, but some of these institutions are excellent. So if all institutions become excellent, there will be no shortage of students also.
That's actually my next question. We had been giving a lot of stress for quantity as far as giving sanction to an engineering college is concerned. We look into the faculty, matters of the faculty, their qualification, infrastructure and so on. But what about the quality of education that is being rendered from these colleges? What does AICTE's stand on this?
See, AICTE is not only a regulator to control the quality of education, but we should also act as a facilitator, and that's what we are doing. So facilitation, I mean by the curriculum is not revised for a long time. We are supporting it by creating a curriculum which is modern. Then we want to teach the teachers first, so they become the trainers in turn. So we want to do that. We want to do induction program for students. We want to change the nature of question papers, because it is not run of the mill asking only explain something, but actually whether student has understood and is able to solve a problem. That is the nature of question paper. Then we want students to go to industry and do internship. We want industry institute interaction cell developed in every institution, entrepreneurship cell developed. So I think we are facilitating in a big way in order to contribute towards the better quality of education on one side. But all said and done, there are a large number of colleges which came up where there is a shortage of not only faculty, there are no students getting admitted. Not even 20% of the seats are getting filled. We want that such colleges should get closed, where they are neither able to provide quality education nor salaries to their faculty. So that whatever those 10-20% will go to another institution where 70-80% students are joining, and they will become better institutions.
Sir, actually, if we look at the technical stream, around 80 to 90% of students who have technical background are being absorbed by the IT sector in India. Last day I happened to go through a report in which it was stated that it was actually reported after interviewing CEOs of various companies, Bangalore-based IT companies, and the report was like in 2017 itself around 17,000 vacancies have been created in India. On the other hand, after the coming up of Trump in US, there is issue with H-1B visas, and so many people are becoming, they are losing their jobs. So this is a kind of contradictory statement and situation. How do you analyze this, and what is going to happen next in the IT sector in India?
In IT sector as well as in any sector, if our quality of product which we are developing, first starting from the college as the outgoing graduates, and then whatever software they develop or whatever hardware they develop, if it has an excellent quality, I am sure that there will be market demand everywhere. And rather than H1B visa, they will start inviting us that we need your support and help. And in particular, forget about USA, there are many countries in the world where the population is aging, and therefore they need support from countries like India, where large number of technical manpower is available to support those countries. So there will be a demand of a different nature emerging in the years to come.
ചന്ദ്രികയായെങ്കിൽ എന്നും പൗർണമി വിടർന്നേനെ
നാദാ നീ വരും കാലൊച്ച കേൾക്കുവാൻ കാതോർത്തു ഞാനിരുന്നു.
മന്ത്രിയെ അറിയൂ. പ്രതീക്ഷയുണർത്തുന്ന പുതുമുഖ മന്ത്രിമാർ, പരിചയസമ്പന്നരായ പ്രമുഖർ കേരളത്തിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാന സൗകര്യ വികസനത്തെ എങ്ങനെ നോക്കിക്കാണുന്നു? മന്ത്രിമാരുടെ നിലപാടുകളും പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളും ജനങ്ങളുമായി പങ്കുവയ്ക്കുന്നു ദൂരദർശനിലൂടെ. നോ യുവർ മിനിസ്റ്റർ. മന്ത്രിയെ അറിയൂ. പ്രതീക്ഷയുണർത്തുന്ന പുതുമുഖ മന്ത്രിമാർ, പരിചയസമ്പന്നരായ പ്രമുഖർ കേരളത്തിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാന സൗകര്യ വികസനത്തെ എങ്ങനെ നോക്കിക്കാണുന്നു? മന്ത്രിമാരുടെ നിലപാടുകളും പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളും ജനങ്ങളുമായി പങ്കുവയ്ക്കുന്നു ദൂരദർശനിലൂടെ. നോ യുവർ മിനിസ്റ്റർ. മന്ത്രിയെ അറിയൂ.
You have been actually promoting that virtual lab project, what is that virtual lab project? How can it be adopted to the engineering colleges in India?
There are two types of virtual lab projects. First virtual lab project is one which is based on simulation. That means instead of having a actual hardware and equipment, whatever experiment is carried out on such equipment, that is replicated by means of a software, and by using simulation, student will understand everything, nuances of that data collection, everything is possible offline by using a computer and a software. This is called virtual lab experiments. There is another variety of virtual lab which is remote controlled laboratories, wherein a equipment which is of a high end, very expensive equipment, not all colleges will be able to buy that, but suppose it is there in some IIT or some good engineering college. Other colleges may book a slot and then remotely control that equipment and study the experiment.
Okay.
So that way, without having an setup by ourselves in our college, remotely you can conduct an experiment and learn the things. So that is what is two types of virtual
So both
labs.
exchange of ideas and experiments can be
Yes.
Actually
Both are possible in
yeah.
this.
So my another question is, like, we have a lot of experiments going on in India. If we take the budgetary allocation, normally for science and technology, research and development, the allocation is relatively less. But nowadays, government is giving too much of stress for these kind of ideas like Startup India, Stand Up India, and so on. So what are your concerns about this? Because 90% of these kind of experiments are like startups are being, failures. On the other hand, just 10% are successful. So how can this financial allocation be properly materialized? As a professor and as a scientist, what is your observation?
I think startup failure is not a phenomenon of India. It is a global.
It happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in the Bay Area of San Francisco, only 10% startups always succeed. But what we need is, if we even increase that 10% to 20%, we have achieved a great deal. And for that, mentoring support system has to be created right from our college faculty members. So when someone gets an idea, many a times we suppress it and say that this is not possible, don't do it and all that. And that is where he starts doing it half-heartedly. Whereas if you say that doesn't matter, even if you fail, don't worry, you can do a second startup. If you give that kind of encouragement, the number of startups which will succeed will become from 10 to 20 to 25 to 30%. And I'm sure that whatever funds are available, we can make use of them, not only from government, but every college, their alumni can support, industry can support, and we create an ecosystem which is a startup ecosystem, which is today third largest in the world in India. We can reach number 1 position.
So India as a developing country, as an agrarian country, which are the areas that you feel that we should give more stress as far as the startups are concerned?
I think startups have a variety of areas. It all depends on self-interest.
Yes.
And where at current time, what is the major challenge and where the opportunity exists. For example, healthcare is one area.
Yes.
And in the rural area, we need to reach out to all the people, and therefore something with healthcare can be a very successful model. We have a lot of agricultural production which happens, but it does not reach the market on time. Therefore, many of the products get spoiled, like fruits and vegetables. How do we support farmers? By creating startups and technologies whereby they also get benefited and city people also get benefited. I think that way every area has its own importance. Transportation has importance, digital education is important. So each one can have their own innovative idea and start implementing it.
You might have gone through so many startup ideas. Which was the one that impressed you a lot, that this will be, very beneficial for the Indian people? Have you observed any such startup idea? Can you share that?
No, there have been many ideas actually. See, for example, a simple idea which my students in the college, which they ideated. Farmers, they require water for their crops.
Irrigation.
Therefore, their irrigation, but there is a pump. And then pump is running and suddenly power goes off. And then it has stopped actually. So we do not know how much water is watered to the field, how much more is required. When the power comes, automatically the pump has to start. And if it starts, it will flood the field. So there can be some sensors which will determine how much quantity of water is already watered to the field, how much more is required. It can start when the power comes on and again stops after sufficient water is given. I think this is a small idea, but how many farmers will get benefited by this? I think these are the kind of things which can enable not only the community, the farmers, we will be able to create a lot of generation of jobs as well.
In fact, India wants a lot of good entrepreneurs to actually become a catalyst in its development, positive catalyst in its development. But everybody can't be a good entrepreneur. I may also have an idea that, I should start something, I should be an entrepreneur. Maybe I may not be successful in that field. So what is the procedure that the government takes or authorities concerned takes in selecting people for starting up industries like this?
See, first and foremost is the passion.
Yes.
So you may have entrepreneurial ability or not. Unless you have the great passion for doing it, there is a fire in the belly, nothing can succeed. In any field, forget about entrepreneurship, for that matter, anything. So those who have that kind of a passion, you collect them and give some initial training and let them experience through some other startups, some other places, and not only hand-holding is required, mentoring is required continuously. Whenever some slight signs of failures are there, we have to again motivate and inspire to continue. I think that way we will make more and more entrepreneurs and more successful entrepreneurs.
എതിർപ്പാത്തിരുന്നാലോ നിമിഷവും വർഷമഴേ കണ്ണുകളെല്ലാം എന്നെ ഇല്ലാത്തതുപോൽ ഒരു കലക്കവും തോന്നതടി.
Sir, it's the dream of every engineer to become, to invent something that will help the humanity. Even in small villages, we can have small kids who have good ideas with them. But it may not be easy for the government to find out these kind of talented people. So what is being done by the government, and even the engineering colleges can come up with ideas that can sort out, filter out these kind of talents. What is being done?
There are already a couple of initiatives. One of them, AICT itself, from all the engineering colleges, invites applications where whatever innovative thing you have done, you please share with us, and we then select out of that and then continue, and then there is an award also of that. There is what is known as National Innovation Foundation, which is run by Department of Science and Technology. Here, not people from educational background, but even uneducated, if they have some brilliant idea, they are scouted. Then they are brought in and tested, and if it is found to be fine, they are even supported. So I think that is the only way innovative culture can grow in a nation.
So how can a layman be a part of this startup industry?
Now, I think when we say startups in the colleges and institutions and incubators, it is not meant for only that college students. The students of the neighboring and other colleges also can participate. That is number one idea. And even uneducated and someone from outside the system, if he comes with a brilliant idea, and if it is found to be having a great potential, I am sure that we must support them and then initiate the incubation and then become a startup actually.
Is there any specific idea that AICT has exchanged with communicated with the college authorities in Kerala?
Yes, that's what, not only Kerala, we have said that our startup policy has been launched, and we have been conducting workshops, seminars in every place, so that people are aware of this facility which AICT is providing and make best use of that. Okay.
Is there any example of such layman intervention in this kind of?
So far, we have not been able to successfully convert anything, but nevertheless, there have been some attempts, and I am sure that some successful things will come out of it.
Okay. So what is your message for the citizens of India, like those people who are actually interested in starting up business? What is your message?
I think never worry about what is the background. You start action, have passion, perseverance, and I'm sure that all of them will succeed.
Okay.
So it is not just for our students of all the colleges. Whatever they learn, put their full interest into that. See, unless you put your passion and full interest into the subject which you want to learn, you will never be able to succeed.
പ്രൊഫസർ അനിൽ ദത്താത്രേയ സഹസ്രാബുദെ സാറുമായിട്ട് സംസാരിച്ചതിൽ നിന്ന് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഈ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് ഇന്ത്യ പോലുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ എങ്ങനെ വളരെ സാധാരണക്കാരായിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാർക്ക് അതിൽ ഇൻവോൾവ് ചെയ്യാം, അതിന് AICT എന്തൊക്കെ കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, AICT എന്തൊക്കെ ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ഷൻസ് ആണ് ഇന്ത്യയിലെ കോളേജസിന് നൽകിയിട്ടുള്ളത്, ഇങ്ങനെ വളരെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ട് കുറേ ആസ്പെക്ട്സ് നമുക്ക് അറിയാൻ സാധിച്ചു. അപ്പോൾ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ നന്നായിട്ട് റിസർച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ പഠിക്കാനുള്ള താല്പര്യമുള്ള ഒരാൾക്കാണ് ഒരു സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് തുടങ്ങണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും അതിനുള്ള ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയിലുണ്ട്. AICT പോലും അതിന് കൃത്യമായിട്ടുള്ള ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ഷൻസ് എല്ലാ കോളേജസിനും കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഈവൻ ഒരു കോളേജിലെ ഫെസിലിറ്റീസ് അവിടുത്തെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് മാത്രമല്ല വേറുള്ള പുറത്തുള്ള കുട്ടികൾക്കും യൂസ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് താല്പര്യമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി അത് എൻകറേജ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള മെക്കാനിസംസ് എല്ലാം ഇവിടെ റെഡി ആക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ തന്നെയാണ് സാർ പറയുന്നത്. വളരെ വളരെയധികം ഇൻസ്പയറിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കുറച്ച് സമയമാണ് അദ്ദേഹം നമുക്ക് തന്നത്. നമുക്ക് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഇത്തരം അവസരങ്ങളെ ശരിയായ രീതിയിൽ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് സ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യ, സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് ഇന്ത്യ, സ്റ്റാൻഡപ്പ് ഇന്ത്യ പോലുള്ള വലിയ വലിയ പദ്ധതികളുടെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് ഒരുപക്ഷെ ഇന്ത്യയെ ഫ്യൂച്ചറിലേക്ക് നയിക്കുന്ന യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സിന് നമുക്കറിയാം മോർ ദാൻ 50% ഓഫ് ദ പോപ്പുലേഷൻ യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ആണ്. സോ ദേ ക്യാൻ ആക്ച്വലി കോൺട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് എ ലോട്ട് ടു ദിസ് കൺട്രി. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും അതിനെ ശരിയായ രീതിയിൽ യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള എല്ലാ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടും റെഡിയാണ്. ഇനി നമ്മൾ സാർ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ ഒരു സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ക്യാമറ ആക്ഷൻ മോഡിൽ പോയാൽ മതി എന്നുള്ളതാണ് സാർ പറയുന്നത്. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് സർ ഫോർ ദ ഇൻസ്പയറിംഗ് വേർഡ്സ്. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്.